Okay, so it's 2:15 in the afternoon Central Time. Today is April 2nd, 2025. I'm Matt Pierce. And we have been talking today about farmers because I did a YouTube video from youtube.com/Matt Pierce blog about farmers. And obviously farming is something that's very close to my heart. I grew up a farm kid and, grew out in the county and rural areas of Texas. But in recent years, I've discovered that the American agricultural landscape has faced some very significant changes, including financial pressures on farmers. And this is nothing new. This is absolutely nothing new. I mean, there's concerns over foreign ownership that are out there. I mean, there's a lot of concerns out there that farmers are having to deal with. And understanding these very crucial issues, this is important to developing strategies that protect the interest of American farmers and ensure our stability as a nation for many years to come. Because he who controls his food controls his security. That's a fact. But American farmers have been grappling with multiple financial stressors for many years, including this fluctuating market conditions, right? Things like trade disputes, policy changes, back and forth stuff in Congress. If you're in Texas, it's back and forth stuff, in our state legislature that really doesn't affect you. And when we start talking about things like the expiration and the subsequent extensions of the Farm Bill, right? This has brought new uncertainties. And this really does affect the essential support mechanisms such as crop insurance, disaster assistance, stuff like that. I was talking with a friend of mine, Ricky Nelson, just like the singer. He's a fourth generation farmer from up in Illinois. And he had some real concerns about financial planning and these real uncertainties, right? And the conversation when Rick and I were talking, the uncertainties when it comes to dealing with these trade wars and stuff like this, American farmers have been dealing with this for a really long time. And these trade tensions, they have only made these challenges that they face a lot worse, like tariffs being imposed on key trading partners like Canada, Mexico, China, things like that, have led to decreased demand on the global scale for agriculture products. And as costs are increasing for imported goods, including things like essential parts for equipment, right? I mean, you talk to these farmers out there and they know what this is going to do. They know that there are some severe consequences of these tariffs on agriculture. And there's no immediate impacts right now on markets for crops like corn, pork, beef, stuff like this. That's not a big issue right now. But down the road, there's going to be some potholes. That's just a fact. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about here was foreign investment in U.S. agriculture land. This is a growing concern, okay? And as of 2023, the stats that I have here in front of me here, as of 2023, foreign entities held an interest in like 3.5% of all privately held agriculture land in America. And this totals something like 45 million acres. I mean, this is a lot. Did you know that Canadian investors own the largest portion? Did you know that? That's a fact. Canadian investors own 33% of that foreign land that's held. Yeah, it's not China. It's Canadians. And I think if you look at this, investors from other countries like the Netherlands, Italy, the United Kingdom, Germany, they also hold a very, very significant portion of this. And the argument is being made that these are Chinese companies or Chinese connected companies in these countries that are buying this land. They're setting up shell companies in Canada and the Netherlands and the UK and stuff, and, so on and so forth, buying the U.S. land. I think that's a small fraction of what's happening, but not the bigger picture. Okay. I mean, when we're talking about Chinese ownership with Chinese investors, Chinese ownership is a much smaller fraction. And because of national security concerns, I mean, this has obviously become a talking point for the political wonks. I think when I looked at this data in 2023, Chinese investors held a little over 0.02% of all the privately held U.S. ag land. And that's actually a decline of like 27%. And that there was a peak in 2021, right? But yeah. And that was partly due to increased scrutiny and legislative actions, I think, that were aimed at limiting such investments by the Chinese, which wasn't a bad option. But part of the problem are these domestic investors. This is true. Part of the problem is the domestic investors, and they're seeking undervalued deals that can contribute to the financial strain on American farmers. And when investors offer these lowball market value prices, right, that are often below market value, when they go in, they offer these to farmers who are facing serious financial difficulties. These farmers are probably going to feel pressured to sell their land, leading to a potential consolidation or reduced competition within the ag sector, right? So this dynamic is going to undermine the economic stability of farming communities and really limit opportunities for new and existing farmers to acquire land at fair prices. This is a real problem. Now, I think when it comes to a policy issue, when it comes to this, we need policy stability. That's what one of the big things we need is certainly policy stability. And there hasn't been that in quite a long time. Okay. Because when you think of policy stability ensures that there's a timely passage and implementation of very comprehensive bills like the Farm Bill. And this can provide our farmers with the necessary support that they need to do their job and to face these uncertainties that are related to things like crop insurance, disaster assistance, and a whole lot of other essential programs that they depend on. So we're going to have to bring in some stable policy. That's just a fact. And the Republicans nor the Democrats are giving us stability in the policy front. Another thing I think you need to look at is fair trade. Fair trade practices are really going to be huge. I mean, we're going to have to look at fair trade negotiations. We're going to have to look at reducing tariff-related tensions. I mean, all of this stuff can help maintain and expand markets for American agriculture products. And this stabilizes prices and it stabilizes demand, right? So one of the key things that you can do is fair trade practices, for sure. Now, when it comes to regulating foreign ownership, that's a whole different ball of wax. Because implementing and enforcing regulations that monitor and potentially limit foreign ownership of agriculture land, this can address national security concerns, and it can really ensure that farmland remains under domestic control. But you have to get these lowball offers off the table. For instance, the Committee on Foreign Investment, right? Here in the US, CFI US. It's been directed to impose restrictions on Chinese investments in strategic areas, including agriculture. That's not a terrible thing. But we need the American investors, the domestic investors, to start coming to the table with more money and stop just trying to, practice Donald Trump's the art of the deal. It's really the art of the steal when it comes to agriculture. Valuations. Yeah, valuations are huge. This is a big issue. There needs to be some encouragement and some regulation, as much as I'm against regulation. But there needs to be something done to encourage transparent and fair land valuation practices that can really protect farmers from these predatory lowball offers, these wolves, if you will. And we need to work with providing our landowners some education and resources on how land valuation can empower them to make really informed decisions when they're considering selling their land. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to put your farm on the market, okay, if you're going to put your farm on the market, you're going to sell it. You need to make sure that these investors who come crawling at you are going to give you enough money to do something, to do something else, to live out the rest of your life or whatever the case may be. A lot of people are talking about, Doge and, cutting the federal government, all this and that. Reckless cuts don't help anybody. I mean, sometimes the federal government is the only freaking thing that can do some of these things. Like expanding access to financial assistance programs that really, okay. You're not hearing me when you say charity, okay? You're not listening to me. When I say expanding access to financial assistance, I'm talking about things that help farmers manage debt and invest in their operations. This reduces the pressure to sell land due to financial hardship. It does. And one of the big things is that we need to start implementing some of these strategies now. Now, today, we need to start implementing some of these strategies. Because when you do, and you get this system in place to finally protect our farmers from the government, financial institutions, domestic investors who are, wolves, the wolves of Wall Street. When you get the farmers' protection from these people, immediately things change. And it changes quickly. Because this can play a very pivotal role in safeguarding the interest of American farmers. And that ensures sustainability and security of our nation's agriculture sector. And what the hell is more important than that? I mean, really, what's more important than that? I mean, farmers and ranchers are without a doubt the foundation of America's food security. They really are. And here in Texas, where I live, I mean, right outside of my studio here, 5 miles, there's a ton of farmland. And Texas is a major contributor to the national economy, to the global economy when it comes to agriculture. And financial instability and predatory lending and predatory investors, these people put farmers at risk. And we need to support the American farmer and help prevent foreign land ownership. We need to prevent these people, these domestic investors from just coming in and lowballing us everywhere we look. And yes, we need to protect the Farm Bill from people like Elon Musk and Donald Trump and these Tea Party Republicans. I'm not a hardcore Democrat either. I'm not a hardcore Republican. I'm also not a hardcore Democrat. Those of you who listen to this show know this, and those of you who watch me on YouTube over at Matt Pierce Blog on YouTube, you know that I'm not a hardcore Democrat, nor am I a hardcore Republican. But we need some balanced approaches to things like the Farm Bill because it's crucial for agriculture financing and sustainability. And I want you to remember that bureaucracy often hinders farmers more than it helps. It really does. It hinders us from being able to innovate in farming technology, which is absolutely vital for long-term success. I want to leave you with this. It is absolutely vital to prioritize farmers as a matter of national security. It's absolutely vital. 100%. If we don't do that, then we're only asking for trouble, more trouble. I'm Matt Pierce. This is the Matt Pierce Blog Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. Just simply search at Matt Pierce Blog. I'm going to bring you more conversations about the real America and the real world. We'll see you soon. Take care. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Tune in.